I have to start with a confession. The confession is that I like roadkill. Now, of course, if you've ever been to America, I know we have one of our Americans here, we have a thing about road trips. We go on these ridiculously long drives. I've done a couple of 30-hour drives because it takes that long to get across half of our country. So I do a lot of these long drives, and roadkill is just that kind of thing you see kind of laying along the road. But I'm not actually talking about true roadkill. What I'm talking about is sales roadkill. So when I first started in sales, I wasn't very good at sales. And in fact, I didn't really like sales so much. I didn't really like having to go out and work so hard. I was quite lazy, if I'm going to be honest. And so what I would do instead is that I would go out and I would look for sales roadkill. And sales roadkill is when you go out and you just look for a prospect that's just lying on the side of the road. They're a little beaten, battered, they've been kicked aside by some other vendor. They don't really know what they want, they don't really know what they need. Boy, I just scoop them up and I would drag them back to the office, my roadkill in place, and I would slam it onto the desk of the account management team and I would go, there, make something of that. And I would dust my hands off, collect my commission, and move right along. Any roadkill people out there? Few? I see some guilty looks. Yes, absolutely. So, Steve, can I get the next slide up, please? But the problem with my roadkill strategy is that it was fundamentally flawed. And it had mixed success. And by mixed success, I mean it was crap, really, is what it was. Because the results was that I was dragging back these prospects and customers that were high cost, high churn, and frankly, pretty high maintenance. And so ultimately, they were costing our business significant amounts of money. Next slide, please. Now, I should have known better, really, because I have a background in sales. For the last 20 years, thank you so much. For the last 20 years, I've worked in enterprise technology. And I've sold to some of the biggest companies in the world, and I've sold to some small companies as well. But I've sold complex deals. I've been to enough trade shows that I can weave an entire king-size quilt out of my lanyards alone. Keep saving them, you'll get there. But the point is that as that person, not only was I in sales, but I've also worked in marketing, product strategy, and support. I've been on the receiving end of that roadkill that landed in my desk. And frankly, I know the cost of having those kinds of customers. And the cost is high to the business. Now, I shouldn't have thought of sales like that. I shouldn't have had a strategy of roadkill because I'm actually from Iowa originally. Raise your hand if you know where Iowa is. See, nobody. Here it is, ready? America, Iowa, yeah? It's like the Northampton of America, yeah? Except not necessarily on an interstate. So, I grew up on a farm. But the important part about me growing up on a farm is that it was all about nurturing and getting more out of our crops, more out of our land, more out of our livestock, more out of all of our resources. Because in reality, it wasn't what we brought into the farm, it was what we grew on it that was the most valuable thing for our business. And it's from that that I developed the fundamental philosophy that it's really important that hunters learn to think like farmers, and farmers know when to hunt. How many of you consider yourself hunters? Quite a few of you, right? You guys know hunters and farmers? Right, hunters, they go out and they find the deals. There are net new salespeople. They go out and find those prospects, they capture them, they grab them, they close that deal for as much money as they possibly can. And then you've got your farmers. Those are the people that are back in the office and they're coddling them and they're nursing them back to health after they've been demolished by that hunter, right? But the reality is that for our businesses to actually succeed, we can't operate that way anymore. When we said it's the best time to be in sales, it's because everybody in our organization is selling. Everybody. And even our customers are helping us to sell. So when we look at things like whether we're hunters or farmers, what we need is hunters that recognize the importance of long-term relationships and farmers who recognize the need to upsell and to reconnect with clients to get value from them. And that's what we're really talking about is value. Value is what we get from our customers and what it takes for us to get it. So let's talk about long tails. How many of you guys know what a long tail is? A few people, right? Reading the revenue numbers, we love that. So of course the long tail is just that revenue chart that says I get 80% or 20%, I get 80% of my revenue from 20% of my customers. So there's our nice long tail. But let me tell you a couple things that your tail also tells you. Your tail might also tell you how much value you get from your customers. Because in reality, when we look at the value that we get, not just revenue, but value that we get from our customers, a lot of times, it's those customers that are right in the middle that give us the most value. And the reason is because we also have a pain line. And the pain line says that most of the time, our biggest customers and our smallest customers are the most difficult to work with. Have you guys seen that? That little tiny customer, and you're just like, how can you be so hard to deal with? And then never mind that big behemoth of a customer that you're working with, that big behemoth is actually up there going, yeah, you've got to use our contract. No, you'll have to use our terms. No, it has to go through our legal department 15 times. No, it has to go to 18 council meetings for approval. You know, that kind of thing. So the time and cost of doing business with them is quite difficult. What we are wanting to get to is that sweet spot in the middle where our value and our pain is minimized and brought together to create that perfect customer and prospect. And what I want to help you do today is to figure out how to grow that pie. There is so much value to be had from your prospects and customers. It's all just about how do we get it from them. And I'm going to tell you that today. So, would you like to get more customers? Yes? Yes? Actually, you probably want to get more valuable customers. It's a trick question. We don't want more customers. We can go get lots of people that will do business with us, but what we need is the right people to do business with us, right? So remember what that sales superpower? My sales superpower is I am the queen of qualifying because I don't want to waste my time as a salesperson bringing in the wrong kinds of accounts that are going to drag our business down. So whole company selling. Whole company selling is exactly what it sounds like. How do I get everyone in the organization contributing to the sales process? I don't actually want everybody out there doing cold calls. No, I don't actually want anybody to have to go do cold calls. So instead, what I want to do is to figure out how to get everybody in an organization to contribute to that sales process. And two ways that we can help that along is first, by recognizing that in a whole company selling process, we play the long game. And the second way is by planning the journey that will get us to the results that we want. So first up, it's really important to recognize the fact that sales isn't about revenue. How many of you track revenue as one of your key metrics? It's a vanity metric, right? A great salesperson. A great story about a salesperson that I used to work with. I was a director of technology for an auto manufacturing company, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a fascinating company. Ask me about it later. So I was director of technology, and I was setting up some systems for one of our salespeople and putting a contract into the system to test it. And I typed in the contract, and I said to him, this contract that I've typed in, according to the numbers on here, every time we do this deal, we're going to lose $1.50. And he sat there for a minute, he thought about it, and he went, yeah, I see what you mean, but we're going to do a lot of them. And I thought, well, there you go. That's perfect. Well done. Good job. We'll get you a calculator for Christmas. So it's not about the revenue. Revenue is a kind of a vanity metric. What we're really looking at now is lifetime value. One of the poll questions that I put out on LinkedIn before the conference started was, do you just do net new sales, or are you responsible for upsells and cross sales as well? How many of you sell again to the same customers? Almost everybody. And how many of your customers stay with you longer than one transaction? Congratulations, you already get this. Lifetime value is the metric that matters. So how can you do that? What's important? Well, we start with one of the most important American philosophers that once said, "What have you done for me lately?" And of course, that famous American philosopher is Janet Jackson. So this is what we have to ask our customers. Raise your hand if you believe that we are here to serve our customers. Are we here to solely serve our customers? Oh, no, I'm not quite sure. Oh, it feels like a trick question, because it is a trick question. If all we did was serve our customers exactly what they asked for, would we be in business? No, we would go out of business. We are not here to serve our customers. Shock horror. We are here to partner with our customers in a mutually beneficial arrangement. Would everybody agree with that? Yeah, they have to give back as well, or we can't stay in business, and if we can't stay in business, we cannot continue to serve them. So quite simple. So let me tell you about two different accounts. When we talk about value, as I said, I've sold to a variety of different types of companies over the years. One of them is one of the largest companies in the world. They turn over about $250 billion a year, and that sale took almost 2 years. 2 years in the making, from the time that we first really logged them as an actual prospect. 2 years to get that deal closed. And to this day, despite the fact that they're one of the best-known brands in the world, I can't use their logo, and I can't use their company name, and they have a policy not to reference. So yes, they bring a lot of revenue into that business, but that's all they bring. That's all they bring. Compare on the other side to that, a small company. A small company that I did business with that I sold in, I think roughly it took about 3 weeks from start to finish to close that deal. It was a small deal, wasn't very big, about $20,000, because it wasn't a very big company. But that company was called Zuffa. And Zuffa might be better known as the parent company of the UFC. Yeah? You guys recognize the UFC? Yeah? The fighting club? So UFC and the people that worked in that department have never once turned me down when I asked them to do something. They would trot out on stage and bring their fabulous videos with all the lights and action and, coming up next to the ring, bah, 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 all that. They co-presented with me. They partnered with me as I innovated a brand new product and provided valuable feedback on that product. And while that was a $20,000 deal, I can attribute easily over $2 million of subsequent sales thanks to their combined efforts and partnership with us as a business. But over and over, I had to have the same conversation with the executive team who said, no, they're not very valuable. I mean, look, they're just a little account. I don't know why you're spending so much time with them. They're just a little account. Because we weren't looking at value, we were just looking at revenue. Now, value comes in a lot of forms, and you have to decide for each organization, depending on where you are in the life cycle of your business, what's valuable to you. It could be that it's money. That's a dollar sign. Just in case you didn't know what that was, that's a dollar sign. It could be money. It could be revenue. I'm not a fan of revenue. I'm much more of a fan of margin, right? And I'm a fan of lifetime value. So it could be that. It could be brand. I need that logo, right? If you're a startup, logos are incredibly valuable. It could be loyalty. We don't want to have to work that hard, and we don't want to have to manage our customers very hard. So we need loyal customers. It could be that they are willing to co-market with us. And whether that's active marketing or passive marketing, we need them to participate with us in our marketing process. It could be that they co-innovate with us, helping us to develop and deliver spectacular new products to offer to the rest of our customer base. And it could simply be because they align so perfectly with our vision that we get to reference them over and over again. And whether it's because they align with our market fit or whether because they align with our product fit, either one, it's that they bring that all together. It could even be that it's market share, but they fit into our niche perfectly. All of these are valuable things.